Hello. Today we are going to see and discuss about project management. What is in that project management? That it's a kind of process which organizes some team that could able to work for some goals and objectives for the perfect and successful execution of that process in a given period of time. So this was the goal and of that project management team. So project management team makes another teams that can work together. Project is a kind of a process that actually needs some effort, or project have some goals and objectives that need to be meet out in a given specified time. It's written like process of leading the work of a team to achieve goals and meet successful criteria at a specified time. Then what are the teams could do, like marketing team, finance team, like engineering team? Different kind of engineering team could also be possible. Mechanical engineering team, software engineering team, or some other engineering could also be possible. So there could be many type of teams possible. Then what could be the goals? Like they have some deliverables that they have to give some reports, they have to give some software, they have to give some mechanical working features. So these are the type of goals that they need to achieve. Then there is a fixed duration for delivering that product or project or tools or anything that has some specified time. So this is all about project management. Then what are the challenges of a project management? So the most important challenge of the project management is resource management. That is constraint related to that project. What are the constraints? There could be resource limitation of time, there could be material limitation, there could be human resource limitations, human power limitations. So all these things, electricity limitations. So these are the constraints that actually project management team need to work out. So what are the challenges? Achieve all the project goals within a given constraint. So there could be many kinds of constraint and many kind of goals which are needed to be achieved. These challenges are the important part of project management. The next, project documentation. So this is also important requirement or important part of a project management. Means you need to create your project manager or project management team need to create some documentation at the beginning of any kind of a development, designing, or any kind of processing. So during the designing and analysis part of a project life cycle, they actually do the documentation at the beginning, and then the developing team, engineering team, implementing team go and do the development and engineering. Next, what are the benefit of these projects, and what are the techniques that are being imposed for the project management? So basically, in the project management, benefit realization management was the part of kind of technique that are being used. What it does, it actually enhances outputs of benefits of a project rather than the product or the output. So in the benefit realization management technique, the objective is to improve the benefits of that project instead of just focusing on the product and output. So benefits are the main objective goal of that project management. Next, in this technique, it actually measures a degree of keeping the project on track. Means this type of project management actually deals with the measurement of a degree of project in track. Means whether it is going in the right track, it is going better or not. So this is the part of benefit realization management. Then next technique of project management is critical chain project management. It is in short form CCPM. So what it does constraint management. It is based upon theory of constraints, and it actually applies this theory of constraints. What it does, it applies planning and managing the project. What type of planning could be like a chart diagram that could help us to realize that what are the critical paths of the project management, how to deal with these critical resources, critical part, critical objectives. So all these things are needed to be planned. Then you need to deal with uncertain situations and inherit management of that project. So what are the uncertain situation could also be possible. All these things, there could be any kind of uncertain situation. These type of things are being managed in this critical chain project management technique. Then what it does, it actually assumes various constraints. For example, there are the limitations of availability of resources, physical, human, or some skills needed by some humans. So all these are the constraints that are needed to be managed by critical chain management type of project management technique. Then we have another earned value management, EVM. So this technique actually extends something to improve project monitoring. This EVM actually extend in the technique for doing the project management based upon the quality of that project. Means it actually measures the quality by monitoring it. What it does, it do the qualitative and quantitative analysis. So how it does with the help of measurement parameters, and then it actually keep on evaluating it. Thus, it actually illustrates the progress towards completion in terms of work and value cost. So EVM tries to actually monitor the things of that project and tries to keep that project running towards the completion of goals. And it keeps on managing and evaluating the how much good or bad had happened to the project, that how the value and cost could be improved. So this is the part of EVM. Next, iterative and incremental project management. So this kind of project management we had already seen, like in case of waterfall model and all these type of iterative and incremental models. Actually, iterative and incremental project models do the complex project management where you need to have better handling of resources or iteratively manage all these resources for management purpose. Then these are very important and modern form of project management techniques, iterative and incremental project management. So we had seen like spiral project management. So spiral is a model which is used for this kind of project management technique. Then there's lean project management, which actually focuses on delivering value with less waste and reduced time. So it focuses on the analysis of wastage of resources and analysis part. Next, phased approach. In the phased approach, actually tries to break down some resources, and what it does and how it does breaking of the resources in design, analysis, development, implementation, testing parts. And phased approach actually manages various series of steps. Then how it has been done? It has been done with the traditional approaches like waterfall model, spiral model. So all these are the phased approaches. Next, what are the four P's of project management? Four P's of project management actually does contextual dynamic affecting of the project. So it actually measures the contextual dynamics of that project. And how these are being referred as four P's. These four P's are actually plan, process, people, and power. What are the plans of forecasting and means future prediction and recommendation of that project? What are the process and overall activities and events that are required to be done in that project for the management purpose? Then how many peoples are being included? What are the collaborations needed? How the dynamically peoples need to communicate with each other? How the team members are being decided? How the teams are being formed? So all these things are comes under people management. Then power management, like there's legal authority, decision making, some policies are need to be implemented, and all these things are need to be managed. And thus you need to manage the power administration type of thing in the project management. Next, development phase. So what happens in development phase? Development phases basically have initiation, planning and designing, construction, then monitoring, controlling, completion, and closing. What are these phases? So these are the typical phases of initiation, means creating the design and analysis part, then planning, that how the design should be executed, how to the design the everything. In initiation, you do the feasibility testing. In designing part, you design some diagrams, and in construction, actually you try to construct various tools, techniques together to make an object or the project utility. Then you do the monitoring and controlling, means testing, maintenance things you do in this phase. And then you do the finishing, means completion of that project. That project is not being needed and this has been developed completely, and not we need to not to take it further. So this is closing part. Then you have risk management, that there is some trade-off between the four things: cost, schedule, performance, and risk. So these four are the most important time management things for the risk management, and these are need to be managed by the project management team. So what are the cost, what are the schedules, what are the performance needed, what are the risk management needed. So all these things have the trade-off. Then you need to have a proactive identification of future problems, so that you can troubleshoot and avoid those problems which are going to happen in future. So these proactive decisions are very required for risk management. Then you need to understand the consequences of allowing prediction decisions about that project. So you need that team members or the team leader need to have the understanding of the consequences. Then next, these type of decisions could be made by the SWOT analysis. What is SWOT analysis? It is short form of strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat analysis. SWOT means SWOT: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What are the characteristics of that project? You need to measure those characteristics of that project and write their strength and weaknesses. So what are the advantage with that project? Is the strength of that project. What are the disadvantage of that project? Is the weaknesses of that project. Then you have various elements which are in the environment of that project, which actually influences that project. So you need to find out what are the opportunities from these elements in the resource, that actually gives you resource to exploit for the advantage of that project. Then in the next, you have threats. What are the elements that could threat your project in future or something else? So you need to write it down, all these four: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So it's all the strengths you write, all the weaknesses you write, all the opportunities you write, all the threats you write, and you make a simple table that you need to understand. And if you able to understand it properly, then you can make the decision in for taking. Means in the right hand side, the two tables were being given for the sort. So you need to plot this kind of table, that internal origins, external origins. So whether these are helpful or harmful, it is very simple. Like W and T were the weakness and threats, actually harmful for the project objective. Then stance and objective are the helpful for the project. Then you have internal origins, means environmental constraints, which are strengths and weaknesses. External constraints, external environmental conditions. So you have opportunities and threats with that. Then next, in the lowermost diagram, you can see the various number of strengths and weaknesses you can keep on writing. Then for further detailed analysis, then you have opportunities and threats, you can also keep on writing. Then you create a combination of these four. Means you create a combination of these fours in the opportunity and strength strategies, opportunity weakness strategies, then threat strength strategies, threat weakness strategies. So this is SWOT analysis is very fundamental for decision making. So once in your life, if you have some problem or you have something to think rationally and make the decisions, you need to look into this SWOT analysis kind of thing and make the decision and go ahead with the proper decision making. So this is actually been useful to take a strengthful decision that could gives advantage of the opportunities, and this could make you overcome some of the weaknesses of the project and taking advantage of the opportunities. Then again, that this will give you strength to avoid all the threats that is present in the project, and this will also give you minimizing the weaknesses and avoiding all these threats. So this is how you can actually do the SWOT analysis for day to day or life to life purposes. Next, we'll see Gantt charts. Was very famous and popular for the project management. What it does, it actually do the estimation of the time that are required to finish a project. Suppose this is an example. There are 7 tasks, suppose. What are the 7 tasks which are being labeled as A through G? So activity A, activity B, C, D, E, F, and activity G. Some of these charts are being concurrently done. Means activity A and activity B in the initial stage could be done independently. They don't need anything else. But other activities like C, D, E, F, G, H needs to do and have some predecessor. And what are these predecessor? So these predecessors are need to begin those activities. Means C needs to be started only after A is completed. D could only be started when A is completed. E will only start when B and C is completed. So these are the predecessor type of things. So next, each task has 3 time estimations. So what are the 3 time estimations? This is optimistic time estimation, normal time estimation, and pessimistic time estimation. So these are the possibility that A could optimistically complete in 2 time unit, but it could complete in 4 in normal condition. Then pessimistically means A could delay up to 6. So it can't delay more than that. So this is how you think of creating the optimistic and pessimistic and normal time estimation. But you can have a formula for deducing the expected time. So what are the expected time? Means how to estimate that expected time for using some formulation. So this is like O, M, and P. So O, M, P could be put on the formula O plus 4M plus P divided by 6, and this will give you the expected time. And how you'll do 2 plus 4 cross 4 plus 6, and this will give you 4 as expected divided by 6 could give you the 4. So 4 cross 4 in the middle part for the each project. For example, for B, activity B, you can put value 3 plus 4 cross 5 plus 9 divided by 6, and this will give you 5.33 as expected time. Again, in the formula you put for the C, you put 4 plus 4 cross 5 plus 7 divided by 6 will give you 5.17. So this is how you actually calculate the expected time. Then once you had calculated the expected time, you can make a chart. How you can make a chart? You can make a chart like this. What are the this chart? So this is like a Gantt chart, and it is giving you the critical path in red color. Means this, like, A activity could take 4 days, B activity could take 5.33, C activity could take 5.17. So these all are being shown, and the critical path are in the red color. What is critical path means? Critical path means delay on this path would actually delay the project. Then black one will be having the slack. Black line will have the slack, means it could wait. It could have enough time to be done. For example, B could be delayed with some of the time, and it has no issue for that. That black line was been shown for the B. But for the A can't be delayed. A need to be finished in the 4 days. That's how you can finish the project in within the time. Similarly, C. So C need to be finished within the time. Means C should be need to be finished in 5.17 days. That's because C is a critical event, and because E was dependent on that C. But you can have D. D could be delayed. D could have a black line and could have the slack. So D could be delayed. But again, the next one would be F. F could not be delayed. because F was shown in the red line. So red means it can't be delayed, F can't be delayed. But next G could be delayed. G requires 5.17, but it can be delayed for because it is showing black line because nothing was dependent on G. So G could be delayed. But it could be delayed within some time limit, means the total time limit. Then finishing process like 7 and 8 could be done together and it requires 0 times. So G is actually can't be delayed. G can't be delayed. F could be delayed. So F could be delayed, but G can't be delayed. This is what is being shown. Means G actually have the fixed time limit and G can't be delayed and F could be delayed. Whereas that E was actually a critical path within the critical path. So E can't be delayed, whereas D can be delayed. D has some black line in front of that. So D can be delayed. Then C can't be delayed because it is completely in the red line. So C can't be delayed, but B can be delayed with some slack ahead of that. Then A can't be delayed. So this is how actually you do the Gantt chart analysis and Gantt chart you can prepare. Then you have some assumption like Saturday or Sunday could be not a working day. Then you need to change the plot and diagram for that. So you need to have some adjustment for that. And that Gantt chart actually exclude Saturday and Sunday, and that need to be scheduled according to that. Then the Gantt chart would be much longer than the actually expected. So length of that Gantt chart would be increased. Then next would be the PERT evaluation and review techniques. What are the PERT chart? So PERT chart are the most fundamental way of representing the process and time models. Then what are the building blocks of this PERT chart? The building blocks of this PERT chart is actually the event and the time taken by these event and the predecessor of these event and successor of these event. So this is one of the most popular and famous charts or the PERT diagrams like PERT chart and Gantt chart. PERT diagram and Gantt diagram are most popular project management utilities or tools or mathematical formulas that you can show to the your team members and for the management purpose. Then you have PERT events. What are the PERT events? These are actually points which are being marked for the completion of one or more activity, and that depends on completion on other activities and that are necessary for completion to start other activities. So part event actually consumes no time and uses no resource. Means it is a static point of a project. For example, like it has been shown that A process needs 3 months, B process needs 4 months, C process needs 3 months, E process needs 3 months, D process needs 1 month, F process needs 3 months. Then the predecessor event. What are the predecessor event? Predecessor event are actually immediately precedes some other events. Means the events which are pre-occurring to a particular event. Then successor events, the events which are appearing just immediately after some event. So these kind of events are successor events. Then what are the events could be possible? An event could have multiple predecessor and successor events. Event could have different predecessor and successor at the could have multiple predecessor and successor events and could be possibly a predecessor and successor for the multiple events. So this is what are the property of these event in the PERT chart, and you can see the critical path of this project. The critical path would be like A and E is taking 6 months. It actually are not the critical path. But when you go from A, D, and F, it is actually taking 7 months. A, D, and F. So because A3, D1, F3, 3 plus 1 plus 3 will be resulting 7. So 7 months is required from A, D, and F. Again, you need path B and C. So path B and C is also taking 7 months. So this 7 month of B and C and ADF is actually the critical paths, and you need to be careful for the AD and F process and B and C process. Next, part diagram could also be known as activities and sub-activities model. So what are the activities and sub-activities? This actually activities represent the performance of the task which actually consumes some time and requires some resources such as labors, material, spaces or machinery that are being required for the activity purpose. So the part activities are actually having the performance issues for the consumption of time and requires resource management. So these resource management and time consumption management is actually part activities. Then how it could be represented? It could be represented in the form of time, effort, resources required for the movement of process or activities from one event to another event. So this is how you can represent the part activities. Then part activities cannot be performed until the predecessor event has been occurred. So this is the fundamental theory that process A depends is a predecessor of process B. Means process B needs to be done only when process A has been finished. And so the sub activities have all the properties of activities. Then in particular sub activities has predecessor and successor of the event just like an activity. There exist sub activities as well for the activities. So you can have a plot and diagram and analysis for sub activities as well. Then you can have predecessor and successor events for that sub activity as well. So this is how you can keep on managing your project. Then sub activities can be decomposed again further into fine grained sub activities. So sub activities could further be detailed into further sub activities, fine grained sub activities. Means activity, then sub activity, then fine grained sub activities. So there could be hierarchy of activities could be possible within an activity. So you need to think innovatively to create this kind of hierarchy for the project. So this is what the part of part diagram. Then you have critical path analysis. This is one of the most important thing and most important part of this Gantt chart and part diagram. Like you need to calculate what are the critical path. Means the longest stretch of the dependent activity that need to be measured within the time and required to complete from start to finish. That means the longest time requiring chain of activities. So longest requiring time activity is actually the critical path, and that could not be delayed. Means all the activities or event coming within that path can't be delayed. If those activities and event is delayed, then the whole path will be and whole project will be delayed. For example, activity A, B, C, D, and E are actually inside the critical path. Means delaying any activities A, B, C, D, and E could actually delay the whole project. Why? Because A, B, C, D, and E are dependent on each other and actually have some restriction to be done. For example, E has a restriction to be done only when G, D, and H was being completed. So you need to think very carefully that E could not be delayed. Again, the A is the starting point. You can't delay A. You have to start it properly. You have to finish it properly within the time limit. What are the time limit? Time limit is duration for completion of A is 10. Duration of completion of B is 20. Duration of completion of C is 5. Duration of completion of D is 10. This path can't be delayed. Then next, you need to think about the total float time. You need to think about the earliest start and finish. What are the earliest start and earliest finish possible? What are the latest start and finish? Then what are the critical path shown in the red? What are the drag means delay amount could be possible? So this has been shown in the red written in the bottom of each activity. Then you have activities F, G, and H. What are the float value of F, G, and H? Float value of f is 15 days. Float value of g is 5 days. Float value of h is 20 days. Means f could be delayed for the 15 days. Means it is okay for that f, but others should not be delayed. Similarly, G could be delayed for the 5 days and others should not be delayed. H could be delayed for the 20 days if others have not been delayed. So that's why F, G, and H have the different floating days. For example, actually have the parallel execution. Like B and C is going parallel with F. B and C is going parallel with H. So you can have to think that what are the critical path. Like B and C going parallel are in the critical path. So you can't delay B and C. Then activities on the critical path have drag. What are the drag? Drag means if you delay a particular activity, then the project will be delayed. So that is the drag value, that how much drag is possible, means how much delay is being possible to have in that project. Then what are the drag? Drag is actually analysis and the delay possibility of that project. Then, for example, how to calculate that float value and how to calculate that drag value. Calculating the float value is very easy and it could be seen very easily. Like, for example, float value of f is 15. Float time would be calculated based upon the total duration in between the delay that could actually be possible to sustain. For example, f could be delayed by 15 minutes or 15 days, and this 15 days delay of f do not affect the project delay, and g could be delayed by 5 days. How actually the total duration between the c and e is actually having enough time of 5, means the duration which is being required, and then h could be delayed with 20 days, then also the project can't be delayed. Then you have the drag and drag calculation. The drag calculation is actually like you have A activity and E activity, because these activities are not running in parallel with anything else. This drag has actually delay of 10 days and delay of 20 days. This means that you have drag of 10 and drag of 20, because these are the initial and the end stages, and initial and end stages don't have anything in parallel currently. So any event which doesn't have anything in parallel, any activity which doesn't have anything in parallel, so the direct duration of completion of those activity will actually be the duration of drag. For example, in case of A and E, unit of drag will be 10 and unit of drag for activity E will be 20. Then next, you have some parallel running processes. For example, B, C, and D. So how to calculate the drag of B, C, and D? Because these are the critical path activities and other activities are running on the parallel with them. So what are the parallel running activity from B, C, D? It is F, G, and H. These need to be calculated properly. And if something is running in parallel with a particular activity, then the lesser one, whichever will be the lesser one, will be used as the drag. Means duration or the total float time of a parallel running activity with the least of the total float. So these are the possible drag time if there's parallel execution of some activities, like either the duration of that activity which are running in parallel, or total float time with the least total float time in running in the parallel could be the critical drag path calculation. So what are the drag values for B and C? Because B and C both are running in parallel with F, which actually have floating value of 15 and 20 for H. F have floating value of 15 and floating value of H is 20. So you have D as the duration 20 and drag of 15, which is equal to the floating value of F. So you can calculate the drag of C according to the duration because duration has the least, like 5 is the duration, so 5 should be the drag value of duration of the C as drag of C. Similarly, drag of B will be 15 because the float value of F is 15. That's why the drag of B will be the 15, because B has the running with F and both the things could be going in parallel. So drag of B will be 15. Drag of C will be the 5. So these are the various parameter being defined for calculation of critical path. Similarly, if you go for the activity D, then the duration of D will be 10 days, whereas parallel running path G and H have float value of 5 and 20. So what is the least? The float value of H will be the drag. Float value of F would be 5, would be the drag of D. So drag will be of D will be 5 because float value of G is 5. So you have drag value of A, B, C and D in this way. So we'll revise that how we had calculated the drag value. So drag value is been calculated like A and E don't have anything in parallel. So the exact duration of their execution would be the drag value of theirs. So 10 days execution time of A is the drag. 20 days execution time of E will be the drag value of E. Then B, C, and D are running in parallel. So the critical path which are actually been running in parallel with other activities, their drag would be calculated according to the least value of either duration could be there of these activity or the total float of the least float value should be there as the drag value. Then this B and C both have the parallel execution with F and H. Thus, B have the duration of 20, but drag as 15 because float value of F is 15. Means the least of 20 and 15 is 15. So 15 would be the drag value of B. Similarly, C have the duration running for 5 days. So 5 is much lesser than 15 or 20. So 5 would be the drag value of C. Next, activities of D actually taking duration of 10, but in parallel, float value of F G would be 5, float value of H would be 20. So float value of G will be equal to the drag value of D. So the drag value of D will be 5. This is how we had calculated drag value. And float value was simple, means the path whichever being going in parallel, which has the maximum time of completion. So you can have that path analysis and then you can calculate the float value. In the next class, we will discuss engineering domains and communities like INCOSE, IEEE, SMC community. What are the engineering domains, for example, aerospace, mechanical engineering, etc., and how does engineering domain need to be worked out for the completion of the project is necessary. Then there are various communities which are going through all these project management and all these things and the theory formation of this systems engineering. So these are the like in COSI and SMC. In the next class, we'll discuss about all these things. Okay, see you. Bye.